ladies and gentlemen. I didn't see you there. Welcome to this week's Threat Intel Weekly. My name is Josh Bacon. With me are two other security engineers. I have Chase Carlin and Michael Gay. Today, we're going to be walking you through the biggest stories in cybersecurity this week. But first, I have a quick question for my engineers on the chat. Do you use GitHub command line or GitHub GUI?
Command line.
Command line. Every day, all day.
All right. We've got a couple of elitists on the phone today, everyone. Let's start. So, Microsoft is doing a very, very good job of convincing everyone to move to Linux, at least in my opinion. So Windows 11 updates are not going very well so far. Microsoft themselves are putting out blocks, which essentially are telling users, if you use this feature, don't update right now because it's broken, for everything from printing, Windows help issues. I think this one was for the Xbox game bar capture, where it was just completely out of sync with anything you were trying to capture. Basically, the OS is a complete mess right now. There isn't really a good reason I can find if you're a Windows 10 user to move to 11. This convinces me even more. Has anyone moved to Windows 11 yet?
I have not. And it's odd because I'm usually the guy that jumps into the new operating system first and tests it out and learns it inside out. I don't want to touch Windows 11, to be honest. And I'm considering just moving to Linux for my daily driver.
I don't blame you. Yeah, I'm recently looking into the Steam Deck because Proton has just gotten so good for Linux that Windows for gaming is starting to become just not necessary. Of course, in our career, there's always going to be people who use Windows. We're always going to have to support a large ecosystem of Windows clients. But supporting a large ecosystems of Windows 11 clients, if you can help yourself, might be avoidable for now. That might be the best option to go through. I don't think you'd be able to convince administration to move all your users to Linux. I think that if you can do that, you should call us because we here at Volta want to hire you. Moving on, we've had a severe outbreak in supply chain attacks on media companies coming from a typo squatted NPM package called fake updates. So the actual impact of this has not come out yet. It's not made itself clear. What we're seeing so far is that 25 different media companies were hit with packages that were aiming for their domain controllers with serialized information. There wasn't too much proof of concept out there yet from what I got to look through, no like source code, but it is a very good warning to, in terms of patch management, obviously a big part of that is always going to be managing the dependencies that the patches rely on. And these type of supply chain attacks are rare, they're new, but they're starting to happen a lot more often. I don't actually, does anyone have a suggestion when it comes to like watching dependencies on packages? I don't think that's a part of security that's been filled yet.
That's $1 billion idea.
That's $1 billion idea, I think.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's edit this part of the podcast out and just go work on that. That might be a much better idea. So yeah, if you're a user who uses a lot of third-party packages, you know, if you're a Python user, you don't use any original packages at all. I don't know if you're Python and you're using the OG library, you're using Python wrong. But if you're someone who uses a lot of dependencies, be watching for the typo squatting. It's happened on pip before. It has happened on NPM. And this is a very quick vector for anyone to get immediately into your organization and start targeting anything they can.
It's also a good idea just to point out that if there's a GitHub repository for the plugin or for the library that you're going to be using, go and audit that code because it's out in the open. And if you look at the code on the GitHub repository and you determine like, hey, this is clean, compile it yourself, compile that library yourself and install it with pip, because you never know, that pre-compiled version may have some sort of malicious, you know, thing in there, malicious line of code. But if you know that this project on GitHub is not malicious at any point, compile it yourself and then distribute that to your developers if you're, a developer lead or something like that. That's how you would combat that, at least how I would recommend. But
Yeah,
you know,
Chase is
each their
a
own.
savant for non-lazy programming. I've seen him audit thousands of lines of code. And then, of course, after you compile that, you can also drop it into a sandbox, take a look at all of the links that it might be reaching out to, of course. If you're not being, I don't want to say lazy about it, but if you're not being quick about it, there are a lot of measures you can take to prevent this from happening. So moving on. UK is now scanning its entire public internet looking for 0 days. So if I don't think we have any listeners in the UK, but I don't want to set our sights low. So hi Britain. Um, we I'm sure if you're an admin anywhere on the globe, you've seen the census scanners, people that are, at least in my opinion, masquerading as security researchers who are really just trying to net scan the entire public internet. This is not that. This is the British Office of Technology, whatever they're called, MI7. I don't know. Um, they are deciding that their admins are not good enough at looking for 0 days. You know, we've talked about these exchange servers, where we were just talking about supply chain attacks that admins are being a little slow to fix. They're now scanning the internet looking for these. I don't know what their actual notification process is. I don't know if you get an email or you get a call or if it's Britain, so they hit you with a hammer. I have no idea how it works out there, but if you're someone who's in Britain and you're seeing these scanners, know it is legitimate. If this happened in America, I could obviously see a riot happening, I think. A bunch of libertarian system administrators angry that you're encroaching on their property. But it's Britain, so I'm sure the Queen scanner is going to be out there doing its work, or the King scanner now. You're right. My bad. ZLibrary was taken offline. Did anyone use ZLibrary? Don't say it. Don't admit it.
I don't even know what that is.
Good answer. So me and Chase and Aquila were college students recently. We know how much college books can cost. This was one resource for getting those at, how you say, a discounted price of free 99. Um, this is still pretty early in development. The reason I wanted to bring it up is because we haven't seen that this is a direct government takedown yet. This is the content management, or what's the actual word? The CSM, the content. What
The
is it? The
CDN, content delivery.
CDN, Content Delivery Network, has taken ZLibrary offline. Um, Obviously, like I said, they were distributing pirated materials. There was a complaint from, I think it was like McGraw-Hill, saying that when they publish a book by 12, by the end of lunchtime at 1, it will be on ZLibrary for free. Right. So this was obviously a huge resource for people who are not, wealthy to go through college and get an education. And so it's a bit of a moral gray area. We still don't know if this is the government's action or a private company CDN action. How do you guys feel about this if it was a government action? Government stepping in to protect private property of one of its companies here in America?
I guess
They
it's
already
different
do
if you
that.
got DMCA. You know, a DMCA, that's a federal law, right? So
Right.
a private organization has to abide by a DMCA complaint. And if not, if they don't abide by it, then obviously that could be a lawsuit waiting to happen. So I guess depends on how you look at it, right? But
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. It's like I said, it's a moral gray area because it's illegal, but the thing it's supporting, might be the person who goes off and cures the disease you have in 20 years, something like that. Um, Obviously, if they're hosting illegal material, I don't think it would even take the government to order them offline. I think the content delivery network has the rights to just rip them off completely. But I am interested to see how long it's going to take for the next ZLibrary to pop up, either on the ClearNet or just on the dark web. I know there's a backup for this repository. The backup for the repository is probably being sold around the dark web right now, even so that someone can get a secondary version of this up and running. But that's all we have for you this week. Some scary stuff. Keep your eyes open. Be on the lookout. Ransomware is going back up. I think Kill US, the Russian cybersecurity campaign is starting to wind down a little bit from what I've seen. I haven't seen as many people under threat of that. So obviously keep your eyes open, update your Exchange servers, take care of your dependencies, and we will see you next week.
Sayonara.
See you guys.